What's up, everybody? Spunky 991 coming at you another video. Coming at you with my week 2 NFL schedule predictions. Week 1 was definitely a week of a lot of surprises, a lot of teams losing, and just a lot of outcomes that I completely did not expect, man. A very excited week of football in week 1. I expect week 2 to be no different. You guys know how I do this. I go over the entire schedule for that week, and of course I save my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, for last. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. First game on Thursday night, you have the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Baltimore Ravens are led by quarterback Joe Flacco, who played very well last week. The Cincinnati Bengals are led by quarterback Andrew Dalton. The head coaches of the Ravens is Harbaugh. The head coach of the Bengals. The head coach of the Bengals is Lewis. Marvin Lewis, John Harbaugh. This game's being played in Cincinnati. I'm going to give this game to the Cincinnati Bengals. I got the Bengals beating the Baltimore Ravens in Cincinnati. Now moving on to the Sunday games. Starting off with the 1 p.m. games, you have the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Chiefs were victorious in their game last week. The Pittsburgh Steelers tied with the Cleveland Browns. The head coach of the Chiefs, of course, is Andy Reid. The head coach of the Steelers is Mike Tomlin. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback of the Chiefs. The Tyreek Hill, wide receiver. They have Travis Kelce at tight end. The Steelers, of course, are led by Ben Roethlisberger. They're led at quarterback. They are led by Antonio Brown at wide receiver. They have Connors in place of Le'Veon Bell, who is holding out at running back. This game's being played in Pittsburgh, but I'm going to give it to the Kansas City Chiefs to go to Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. Next game, the Miami Dolphins are traveling to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jets. The Dolphins were victorious in their game last week against the Tennessee Titans. The New York Jets were victorious against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. The quarterback of the Dolphins is Tannehill. Tannehill, the quarterback. The quarterback of the Jets, of course, is Darnold, who played pretty well overall in his first career start for the Jets against the Lions last week. This game's being played in New York, and I'm going to give this game to the New York Jets. I got the New York Jets beating the Miami Dolphins in the AFC East showdown. The next game, the Cleveland Browns are going to New Orleans to take on the Saints. The Cleveland Browns they tied in their game against the Steelers last week. The Saints lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a game that was a shootout. I was very surprised by that game being a shootout, but it definitely was, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming out on top. Hugh Jackson is the head coach of the Browns. Sean Payton is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. The quarterback of the Browns is Tyrod Taylor. They have Josh Gordon at wide receiver, Jarvis Landry at wide receiver. The New Orleans Saints are led by quarterback Drew Brees. This game's being played in New Orleans, and I'm going to give it to the Saints. I got the Saints beating the Cleveland Browns. The next game, you have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Landover, Maryland, to take on the Washington Redskins. The Colts lost their game to the Bengals last week. The Washington Redskins won their game against the Cardinals last week. The head coach of the Colts, of course, is our the Eagles' former offensive coordinator, Frank Reich. The Redskins head coach is Jay Gruden. The quarterback of the Colts, of course, is Andrew Luck, who returned after a year of absence due to injury last week. They have T.Y. Hilton at wide receiver. The Redskins are led by Alex Smith at quarterback. This game being played in Washington, it's going to be a pretty interesting game. I got the Colts win this game. The next game, the San Diego... sorry about that. The Los Angeles... It's going to take a while to get used to that. The Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. Yes, it's going to take me a little while to get used to Sandy. It's still, even though it's been a year, it's still taking a little while for me to get used to saying the Los Angeles Chargers. But yes, The Los Angeles Chargers are traveling to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. The Chargers, I believe, were victorious in their game last week. No, excuse me, they were not victorious. The Chargers lost their game last week. Sorry about that. The Buffalo Bills were blown out by the Baltimore Ravens last week. Phillip Rivers, of course, is the quarterback of the San Diego Chargers. Sean McDermott is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Josh Rosen is his first career start. Their quarterback last week stunk up the joint, Peterman. So this would be Josh Roseman's first NFL start. Shady McCoy, of course, is the running back for the Buffalo Bills. Who else they have over there? Kelvin Benjamin, a wide receiver. This game's being played in Buffalo, but I got the Los Angeles Chargers going to Buffalo and beating the Bills. The next game, you have the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Green Bay to take on the Green Bay Packers. The Vikings were victorious against the San Francisco 49ers. The Green Bay Packers in a crazy Sunday night football game were victorious against the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers went out that game and came back and put on the show at the very end. The Minnesota Vikings are led by quarterback Kirk Cousins. The Green Bay Packers, of course, are led by Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. The wide receiver for the Packers, of course, is Randall Cobb is wide receiver for the Packers. Head coach for the Packers is McCartney. For the Vikings, they have Zimmer at head coach. Thielen at wide receiver. This game's being played in Green Bay. This is the NFC North fight here, battle here. I have the Green Bay Packers beating the Minnesota Vikings in Green Bay. The next game, you have the Carolina Panthers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Falcons. The Panthers were victorious in their game against the Dallas Cowboys last week. The Atlanta Falcons lost to the Philadelphia Eagles last week. The Panthers head coach is Ron Rivera, Cam Newton at quarterback, Luke Kuechly at linebacker, Greg Olsen at tight end for the Panthers. The Falcons have Dan Quinn at head coach. They have at quarterback Matt Ryan, Julio Jones at wide receiver, Trufant at corner. This game's being played in Atlanta, and I'm gonna go with the Carolina Panthers to go to Atlanta and beat the Falcons. Next game, you got the Houston Texans traveling to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. The Texans lost their game last week against the New England Patriots. The Titans lost their game as well. This game's being played in Nashville. The quarterback of the Houston Texans, of course, is Deshaun Watson. They got Hopkins at wide receiver. The Tennessee Titans have Marcus Mariota at quarterback. They have who do they have at? I was about to say Delanie Walker, but I just remember Delanie Walker is out for the year. So I was about to say they had Delanie Walker at wide receiver, but I just remember that he is injured now. This game's being played in Tennessee. I'm gonna choose the Houston Texans to travel to Tennessee and beat the Titans. All right, now for the 4 o'clock games Eastern time. You have the first game on here. You have the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. This game is at 4:05 p.m. The Cardinals lose to the Redskins. The Rams were victorious in their Monday Night Football game against the Oakland Raiders. Quarterback Sam Bradford is the quarterback of the Cardinals. Of course, the Rams are led by Sean McVay at head coach. They have Jared Goff at quarterback. They have Sue over there, Aaron Donald. This game's being played. I can't forget Gurley at running back for the Rams. This game's being played in Los Angeles, and not a hard decision for me to make. The Rams are clearly the better team. I got the Rams beat the Cardinals. That, of course, is the NFC West meeting. You have the next game, the Detroit Lions traveling to traveling to play the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara. The Lions, of course, are led by Patricia, head coach. They lost their game on Monday Night Football. The 49ers lost their game to the Vikings. The 49ers, of course, are led by they led at quarterback by Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, Richard Sherman at corner. Shanahan at head coach. The Lions, of course, are led by Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Golden Tate at wide receiver. This game's being played with LeGarrette Blount at running back. This game's being played in San Francisco or Santa Clara. I got the 49ers beating the Detroit Lions. The next game, 4:25 p.m. on 4:25 p.m. You have John Gruden, the head coach. The Raiders taking on the Broncos. John Gruden is the head coach of the Raiders. The Raiders, of course, are led by Derek Carr at quarterback. The Broncos are led by Case Keenum at quarterback. They have Emmanuel Sanders at wide receiver. Demaryius Thomas at wide receiver. The Raiders lost their game. The Broncos were victorious in their game last week. This game is being played in Denver, and I'm taking the Denver Broncos to beat the Oakland Raiders. Next game, the New England Patriots are traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, 4:25 p.m. Now, this right here could be a pretty good game. This right here is a rematch of the AFC Championship game. Of course, the Patriots came up victorious in that game and went on to lose to my Eagles in the Super Bowl, of course. But yeah, the head coach, of course, Bill Belichick of the Patriots. Trying to remember who the head coach of the Jaguars is. Trying to remember that guy's name. His name has kind of slipped my mind right now. You guys, remind me in the comment section. I can't remember the guy's name. Of course, Tom Brady is quarterback of the New England Patriots. Quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars is Blake Bortles. They have Jalen Ramsey at corner. This game, Leonard Fournette is at running back. Hogan is at wide receiver for the Patriots. This game's being played in Jacksonville. But I'm gonna go with the New England Patriots beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, moving on to the Sunday night football game. The Sunday night football game is at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. You have the New York Giants traveling to Dallas to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Both of these teams lost their matchups last week. The Giants lost to the Jaguars. The Cowboys lost to the Carolina Panthers. Pat Sherman is the head coach of the Giants. Jason Garrett is the head coach of the Cowboys. Quarterback Eli Manning of the Giants. You have at running back. You have Saquon Barkley at running back for the Giants. You have Odell Beckham at wide receiver. Cowboys, of course, Dak Prescott at quarterback. You have Ezekiel Elliott is at running back. Sean Lee at linebacker. This game's being played in Dallas. This is the NFC East matchup, of course. I'm gonna go with the New York Giants beating the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Giants are the better team. I'm going with the Giants beating the Cowboys in Dallas. Now, moving on to the Sunday night football game. The Monday night football game. My apologies. At 8:15 p.m., you have the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. Can't remember, but I believe the Seahawks were victorious in that game last week. If I'm wrong on that, just let me know in the comment section. Chicago Bears, of course, lost to the Green Bay Packers in the crazy comeback from behind win by the Packers. Of course, Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Seahawks. Russell Wilson at quarterback for the Seahawks. The Bears have Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. This game's being played in Chicago. I'm going Chicago Bears beating the Seattle Seahawks in Chicago. Now, saving the Philadelphia Eagles for last. This game is a 1 p.m. game on Sunday. The Philadelphia Eagles won their NFL kickoff game against the Atlanta Falcons. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in a game that really surprised me, beating the New Orleans Saints. I was not expecting that game to be a shootout like it was, man. Like I was just, it was unbelievable to see, you know, that game be, you know, go back and forth between the Buccaneers and the Saints like it did, man. Ryan Fitzpatrick played extremely well. Give the man his props. But the thing about Ryan Fitzpatrick is that he's so up and down, man. Like, the guy is so up and down. Like, he looks at moments he's a legitimate starter quarterback in the NFL, but then there's moments where he looks like a complete backup quarterback. The Eagles, the Eagles have an overall good record against Ryan Fitzpatrick. Of course, the head coach, of course, of the Eagles is Doug Peterson. At quarterback, Nick Foles is going to be starting the second straight game. Ryan Fitzpatrick, of course, is going to be quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jerry McCoy at defensive tackle for them. I don't believe Deshaun Jackson will be playing at wide receiver for them, but they have Mike Evans. Running back for the Eagles, Jay Ajayi, of course. Our wide receivers, we have Mike Wallace. We have Nelson Aguilar. This game is going to be played in Tampa Bay, but of course, I'm taking my Philadelphia Eagles to go down to Tampa Bay and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have my Philadelphia Eagles beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But yeah. There you go, man. That's my week 2 schedule prediction video. Give me your thoughts in the comment section. Give me your schedule prediction in the comment section if you want to. I will have my my Eagles Buccaneers preview video out. That'll be out for you guys tomorrow. I'll definitely record that and put it out tomorrow. But yeah, there you have it, man. My week 2 predictions. If you're new, of course, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you think. As always, go Birds. Fly, Eagles, fly. Peace.